Hello, Bill here. Today I'm going to do a bit of speed painting. I have a game this evening of Stargrave and I needed a captain for my little crew. So I went ahead and made one. I printed him out yesterday, I undercoated him today, and now I'm going to paint him. And this isn't really a painting tutorial, it's just a kind of how I do things. It might be useful to you, it might not be. There's no mystical secrets to be had. It's just a example of how quickly you can paint these figures up if you really want to. So I've got my paints all set out here. I've decided what colours I'm going to use beforehand. I have fresh water, I've got tea, everything's ready, so let's go. Okay, first thing I'm going to use is Rathkar Flesh. This is a good base colour for flesh. It's not too bright and pinky. It's kind of more toned down, nearer a flesh shade that I prefer. So we're going to throw that on now. Don't have to be too careful at this stage, just it's about getting the paint on. Excuse me. And covering up the undercoat. What I did with the base coat, I suppose I should have explained that, was I basically rattle canned it black and then I brought it inside and give it a zenithal white, or sorry, grey and then a white with my airbrush, just because it gives a better, more accurate zenithal, I think, than a rattle can does. And I'm not a fan of dry brushing because it's just hit and miss, so. It's fairly opaque, this colour, so it goes on really nicely as a base colour. One of the things that happens, you might just be able to see it there, is on 3D prints, sometimes when you've got something with a bald head or a helmet, is right at the end there, you're just left with a tiny little hole, which is a bit of a pain in the butt, but I just basically fill it full of paint and it goes away. But yeah, if you're ever wondering what it is, it's just the print process. I'm not bothering painting around the studs and things he's got on his face yet, because they'll all get painted over. I've not played Stargrave before, so I'm kind of looking forward to having a game of it. I've had the rules for a couple of years, but you know what it's like. Just getting around to playing the games is the issue a lot of the time. Okay, he's got a little bit of a beard, so I'm not going to fuss too much around his chin. But yeah, there you go, flesh, nice and quickly done. Okay, what should we do next? We will do is, I tend to work from the inside out, so I've got a couple of options here. I think what we'll start with for his clothing is these trousers, because they're kind of the most tucked away pieces that he's got. I'm going to use Skeleton Horde from Workshop, because it gives a nice off-white look and it's not too overwhelming. And especially when you've got a zenithal on, it helps to have more transparent colours to emphasise all the shadow. This is kind of one of my go-tos for off-white, because you can easily build up the highlight from this if you wanted it a bit lighter, which we might do towards the end. So that's that bit. And what I might do also is this little kind of tabard he's got, if that's the right word for it, loincloth, call it what you will. We'll throw that down there as well. And I'll brighten that up with a highlight towards the end, I think. Contrast paint, kind of fluidy, so I'm just going to run a brush along the edges there, just get the excess off, because otherwise it's going to blend with the next colour I'm going to put down. So the next colour we're going to use is Griffinhound Orange, and this is going to be for his tunic underneath. This is another colour I like because it's an orange, but it's kind of like a brick orange. It's not too orangey, if that makes sense, so it doesn't kind of overwhelm the eyes. I'll just take a bit more of that last coat white. Okay. If I keep going out of shot, I apologise. I've not actually painted in front of a camera before, so it's all a big learning curve, and I'm probably doing it all wrong, but hopefully it turns out interesting enough that you'll want to watch it. Yep, we like. Yep. This is another semi-transparent contrast paint where it will show the zenithal through, just giving it that bit more depth, which is kind of nice. And the great thing about contrast paints is you don't have to. You can basically paint the figure and you're done. You don't have to go mad and do all these different things to it. But if you want to, you can. So that's always nice. Try and tidy up as I go, but not always possible. Okay. So the scenario tonight is a hostage rescue, which could be fun. It's a multiplayer game that my friend Tim Please is hosting, and it's a new gaming group. So I've not met any of the guys before, I don't think, apart from possibly one. So I've got to be on my best behaviour, so I get invited back, which means no talking about politics or religion, unless it's the Jedi religion, because it's kind of almost applicable. Okay, I'm going to change the angle of this camera because I think the angle of where it's pointing down is being blocked by my hand a lot, so I'll be back. Okay, we're back again. Hopefully this is a bit better. So I don't often make figures specifically for my games. I tend to make figures for other people's games and then I end up trying to play them myself, although I do far more sculpting than I do playing games, sadly. I need to correct that. Otherwise, what's the point in doing it all? Okay, I think that will do for his tunic. Nice, quick and simple. Okay. Next, I think we'll do some leather on his belts. He's got a couple of cross belts there. And his ammo pouches. I don't know what to do with his ammo pouches. I'm going to do them green, but I might do them brown now, just because it's quicker. So, oh yeah, sorry. I'm using snakebite leather, which I think is a brilliant colour. It's my favourite leather colour from the contrast paints. It's just easy to use, and it looks good every time. I'm keeping it to a fairly limited palette. I don't want to, you know, have to go through dozens and dozens of different paints to paint this figure. The idea is to get it painted quickly and cleanly so it can go on the table. I've not painted my figures to kind of high quality standard for a long time. I just kind of got out of the figure painting mode. I kind of never got back into it. It's a bit messy. Not a big drama because we're going to have a fairly dark colour over them, but tidy it up as best we can. I used to do this thing early in the mornings when I got up, which is a great way of getting through painting armies. It's basically get up an hour early than you usually do. Go down, pour yourself some coffee, and go start throwing paint on something, anything. Even if you only get like half an hour in, but just do it every day. And I would live stream it, which was kind of fun. And there was always this one guy that would be there. He'd just come back from work, and Jerry, his name was, and he'd always be there, just kind of watching me. He'd be the only person watching, I think, but that was kind of cool. I kept that up for quite a while. Maybe I should start doing it again. Okay, so that's good enough for his leather work. Nice and quick. Now I could do his boots leather as well, but I think I'll do black because I would like the contrast. I think I don't want it too bright, although it is going to get inked over when we've applied all these colours down. So it's going to tone it down a little bit anyway. So yeah, boots next. We will use Black Templar, and I'm using this over. Using what's the other one? Black Legion, because it's slightly more transparent than Black Legion. So I think a lot of things gives a better effect when it comes to. It's not too heavy, basically. Okay. So a lot of the inspiration I get from painting is from YouTube. I'm sure most of the rest of you do too. But I have two particular favourite channels that I like to go to. The first one is Marco's channel. I can't remember the full name of the channel, but it's the Italian guy. Hey, it's Marco. He is a phenomenal painter. He paints in pretty much anything. And his use of oil washes and oil base coats and things like that is amazing. And I've played around with that myself, and it's well worth, if you haven't tried it before, it's well worth trying out oils. They're not as messy as you think they are, I always avoided them because I was sure they were going to be messy, but they're not really. And the other one is Sonic Sledgehammer, and he does really nice, simple paint jobs of figures, and he's kind of diametrically opposed to what Marco does, but that's okay because it gives you an idea of, you can use, the fancy painting for, command figures and stuff like that, or, and your rank and file, you can just use Sonic Sledgehammer's techniques, which are a lot simpler, but very, very effective. And I'm kind of using Mr. Sledgehammer's kind of techniques here, and just keeping it nice and simple, and then I'm going to give it a wash at the end, which will hopefully set it off. So yeah, that's what I do. Okay, so next thing I think we will do is we'll do that little belt buckle and his grenade. So I got a bit of gold for his belt buckle. I'm using Vallejo Glorious Gold, which is a nice colour. It's fairly opaque. Probably better over brown or black, but over white it works fairly well. Nice and bright. And it doesn't matter that it's overly bright yet, because like I say, once that final wash goes on, it tones everything down and makes it kind of levels it all out. And also while we got this out, because it's a kind of gold colour, we'll paint the caps of his shotgun cartridges as well. This is the kind of thing I probably would have left to last, but I'll do it now because it's out. Only because I haven't painted his robe yet, but that's fine. And wipe it off his the leather. Yep, so that's good for there. What else do we want to do? I think that'll do it for gold for the moment. Okay, so that's that done. For his grenade, I'm just going to use a Vallejo US dark green. It's a nice flat military style colour, which should work quite well for anything like this. I kind of wish I'd done his robe a little more open, and then I could have given him a kind of pistol underneath as well. Just give him, give him the appearance of being completely and utterly tooled up, as he should be. Now, captains are supposed to be, well, can be equipped with lots of different things in Stargrave to suit their roles. So one of the things that I think is a useful bit of kit is the deck, which is basically a keyboard, so you can hack into things. So rather than carrying a laptop with him or whatever, I've just put that on his wrist. So he's got one of those kind of like, devices that they have in Fallout on their wrists. It has all, accoutrement with it. So that was pretty good there. Okay, that's that. So now we can do his robe, which is the big bit. That's not the colour. There it is. So I'm going to use Pterodon Turquoise, which I think is a really nice colour. And it goes on fairly opaque, not completely opaque, but opaque enough. Now, the only trouble with this is it's a big piece of cloth. So speed is of the essence, because if you leave contrast too long, it starts to get claggy and you can then ruin your paint job. So start the corner and throw it on. Nice and quick. I'm not bothered about getting any on the weapon, because it'll all get painted over. I'm going to try and avoid getting any on his leather because the contrast paint won't paint over. I can't repaint it really, but with the leather contrast paint, I'd have to paint over with a different colour. So you've got to be kind of careful. And I could have done lots of editing and things like that, but to be honest with you, I'd rather do this in real time so you can see how quickly it can be done. See, there's a little bit of clagginess. And I've got a feeling there might be some down here. Yep. So you get a kind of little line. I don't know whether you can see it there, but I can see it. It could be, it's just a pain. Okay, almost done. Those bits. Should have probably done this live view and then I could have asked for people's tips on playing Stargrave. But I'll just blunder through on my own, I suppose. Okay, almost done. This is tricky trying to keep it in the camera, so I apologise if it's going in and out. I'm going to have to work on my layout if I'm going to do this again. I'm assuming anyone would want me to do it again. Okay, so not too fussed on the inside of his tunic. I don't have to get all of it, so I'll just throw some paint on the bottom, just where it might show. But everyone's going to be looking at it from above, so it's not going to be too bad. Yeah. That wasn't too horrible. So, there's a little bit there, of course there is. Oh, there's a big bit under there. Thankfully, it's out of the way. Okay, that's his tunic, his robe done. Right, so now, because I don't want to go near that robe, I'm going to throw some white down on his sword to give it a nice solid base colour. I haven't decided what colour I'm going to do it yet, so I was thinking purple maybe, but I don't know. Don't know. I know it's always good to give it a kind of solid white colour if you're going to paint anything that simulates light. I really want to teach myself OSL painting. There's some incredible people out there, James Wapple, Marco again, who really are kind of masters of OSL. And I'm still in that that old man category, I think it is now, whereas you still treat each figure really preciously because you don't want to mess it up. So I don't tend to kind of experiment much when I'm painting in case I get it wrong. But it's so stupid because I just print another one and paint it again. I just kind of don't want to. So yeah, that's that bit done. I think we'll add some. Don't want to do the shotgun yet because it's still wet around it. So I think what we'll do is I'm going to mix some silver and turquoise ink up, and give the some of the metal bits a going over, because I don't want just plain silver. I want it sci-fi looking, so I'm going to add a little bit of colour to it. And I think it'll tie in nicely with the colour scheme. I'm actually going to pause because I just realised I don't know where my ink is. So it's on the other side of the room, so I'm going to go and get it and then mix it up, and I'll be back. Okay, we're back, and I couldn't find my ink. I know it's there somewhere, but I'm not going to spend ages looking for it. So instead, I'm going to take life by the neck and try something different. Now, I've had these things sat on my shelf for years. I have never ever used them. So I'm going to give this a go. It's a transparent paint. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint these a really bright silver and then give them a little washy wash with this. And that might look good. Or should I mix it with the silver? I don't know. I don't know what to do. Right. That's my really bright one. Really good silver colour is all the Vallejo game colour. Metallics are great, I think. They flow really well, and they are they lay down pretty well. I think what I'll do is I'm gonna paint his lightsaber silver. That can be silver, nice and bright. Now this is a fairly new Winsor & Newton Series 7, and it splits hell of a lot when I'm using it. Even though I clean it out and it's always, you know, the furrow's not full of paint or anything like that. But this one in particular just seems to not want to stay together. But they're not cheap, so I'm using it no matter what. So if you've got any brush recommendations, now's the time to throw them at me. And I've had Winsor & Newton before. It's not like it's, you know, I don't know what they're like. I know they're great brushes, but just this particular one is just a pain in the butt. Let's trim some of the hairs off it, I think. Okay. So for the other bit, I think I will mix a little bit of this in with what's left of the silver. See how we get on. I'm not going to use it with my Winsor & Newton. I'm going to use this scabby brush that I've got here for mixing. Sorry, it's off camera. Oh, it's quite thick. I'll bring it in just so. There we go. Exciting behind the scenes shot. So I'm going to see what this is like. Just a tiny bit in there. A little bit more. Tiny bit more. Yeah, that's good. I like that. So you get a bit of kind of effect by adding colour to metallics rather than washing them over with a in ink, in my personal opinion. Okay, so let's clean that off. Get rid of that. Blah blah blah. And we'll throw all this down on his deck. And again, it'll dull down with the final wash, but nice to add a little bit of colour in there. Just gives it a little bit more interest. Oh, just noticed there's a load of gold under his fingers there. No idea how that happened, but thankfully it's a nice thick paint. His Wrathgar flesh, so that'll just go over it nice and easily. Hide it. Okay. Okay, it's very subtle, but I like subtle. It looks better than just plain silver on everything. And I think we've got his kind of headpiece here. I'll use a darker metallic colour on this, and then maybe a gold piece for the eye. But we'll stick the lens in. We'll put a little red in there for the lens. I'm going to use this nice bright ball red. In fact, no, I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do it fancy, and I'm going to get a yellow first. I'm going to use Bad Moon yellow. And I'm going to put that in first, and then I'm going to add a little washy wash with the red around the edges to give it a kind of glow. I don't know whether it will or not, but I'll give it a go. I should have really hit that with white first, but I'm not overly fussed. It'll still be all right. Okay, let's fix our happy little accident on the hand. Let's throw that flash down there. Job done. Okay, no idea how long we've been yet, but it's not that long, and as you can see, he was saying, there's not that much left to do. The sword, the shotgun, and his eyepiece, basically. Once they're done, we can hit it with our final wash, and then it can be done. I don't need to do anything else, but what I will do is add some highlights at the end once it's dried over. And I won't do that straight away, because it's going to have to dry for a bit, so I'll come back and do that after about half an hour, something like that. So we want, I know what I'll do. No, we'll do that in a minute. Okay, so I need a dark silver. And this is another Vallejo colour, chainmail. Just like the silver, it lays down really well, and it's really smooth going on. So another one of my favourites. So this bit's tricky. So I just realised his ear's not painted. Good job I came back, isn't it? Sloppy Bill, sloppy. Okay. will do. But while we got that out now, we might as well just add a little bit of a colour to the buttons. Oh, bugger. Oh, look at that. It just gets worse and worse. So much to say. Damn, I'm going to have to try and go over that. Oh, how embarrassing. Anyway, as I was saying, a little bit on these buttons, a little bit on the top of the grenade there, a little bit of a button thing there. That'll do. Okay. Now on a bit of gold again. I'm going to go around his eye very carefully. So, if this goes out of focus, I apologise, but it's really tricky to do at this angle. And my hands are definitely not steady as they used to be. Trying desperately not to touch the robe because the contrast could still be a little bit tacky and I don't want to smudge it all over the place. That's not too bad. Happy with that. While I got the gold out, I'll dot his little metallic studs he's got in his head. Little data ports or wherever they are. One more. Okay, let's paint that missing ear in. Again, just so embarrassing. That's better. Now he looks whole. Okay. Now for the shotgun, I'm going to use Black Legion for the actual metal, and then what I'll do is the hand grip and the pistol grip I will paint in a different colour. I don't know what yet, but we'll get the black on first. Black Legion's slightly more opaque than Black Templar, so it's pretty good for this kind of thing. I did want to do a head variant for him as well, but there just wasn't enough time to get it all done this month, so maybe I'll do that sometime in the future, but for now it can just stay as it is. Oh, another bit of Rathcar flesh missing. I'm forever doing this, I don't know whether everyone's the same, but I'm forever finding little bits that I've missed. I can't do it as slick as the painters on the YouTube. Okay. So next we've got the handles and like an olive green. Maybe I'll just use that olive green again. Although it's a bit dull, isn't it? Here's another green. Let's use that one. This is yellow green from Pro Acryl. I haven't used these a lot. Excuse the wee bit of shaking. I haven't used this a lot, this paint, but the little bit I have used, I've been impressed with it. It's it goes on really well, especially over if you've got a black undercoat. You know, it goes on pretty decently over that. So that's always a good sign of paint, quality paint. I picked up a few of these colours at Adepticon, so I might as well use them. Does anyone else have this terrible habit of buying more paint than they'll ever use? And then they'll go back out to another show and do the same again. Just asking for a friend. Okay. It's quite bright, this, but I'm hoping it'll dull down sufficiently. If not, I can always paint it over another time. Okay, oops, forever nearly dropping these things. I think that's not too bad. So what I'm going to do now, in fact what I'm going to do now is I'm going to paint the base, which is one of my ship bases. It's nice and plain. You can buy these, you can buy lots of bases with all these, you know, accoutrements on them. But the thing is, there's like hardly any place to put your figure on the damn thing. So I'm a big believer in having a plain base and then adding to it, but that's just me. That's just me. Don't have to be too delicate about this, it's nothing fancy. Let's get your big brush out and throw it on there. Okay. Oops, good enough for government work. So, okay, I'm going to let him dry for about 10 minutes. And then I'm going to come back and throw a wash on him. So we're back again, and now it's time for washes. And this is basically, can be the last stage of painting a figure, unless you want to kind of add some highlights to it, but you don't really need to if you just want it to get on the table like I do. So first one is a Reichland Fleshshade, which is a nice little inked wash for your skin. And the next one is this mixed up by myself, no label. It's called Marine Juice by Mr. Sonic Sledgehammer. And it's basically a mix of Army Painter Strong Tone, Lamia Medium, and Reichland Fleshshade. And you put them all together and give them a good mix. And it gives you a rather nice kind of warm shade over your figure. It works really well. I was kind of skeptical about it to begin with, but I've done a couple of figures with it now, and I'm really impressed with it. So we're going to throw that all over it. So maybe shake. These bottles that I mixed it up in come off Amazon, cheap as chips, and they come with a ball bearing in them to help you mix up your paint, which I thought was pretty cool. And I can't remember how much they were, like $6 for 10 of them or something like that. So not expensive at all. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is use the Raglan Flesh Shade and get that done. I tend to always start with the flesh. Just put a bit too much on his hand there, so the excess off and put it on his face. You don't want to put too much on. You want to try and even it out, give it a nice spread. Don't let it pool in the wrong places. This warms up the Rathgar flesh nicely. As you can see. I could wait for that to dry, but I don't really need to. I can crack on with the next bit quite easily. There's a little pool in there, let's even that out a little bit. Better. Okay, there's the fun bit. Okay, big brush and just lather it on. Now you could use Agret's Earth Shade. I mean, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a very common wash to use, but it doesn't sit quite as well as this does, and that's probably because of the amount of medium that's in it. The Lamia medium is a third of the mix, and it lets it flow very well, and it tends to make it pool in the recesses rather than on the surfaces. It's just I think a better wash altogether. The only thing I'd say was superior would be oil washes, but I'm not going to oil wash this particular figure because I don't want to have to wait a day for it to dry. Although, you know, if I had my way, I'd oil wash everything because it's just so damn good. And you can adjust it. So if you put too much on, or not enough, but mainly if you put too much on, you can just wipe it off and it's gone. So that's the initial wash done. I'm just going to actually get a bit more and we'll do the base as well. Well, I could do that with non-oil, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to give it a coat of this just to keep it warm, and then to add depth I might throw some non-oil on it later. Ideally I'd put this on one of those little painting handles, but I didn't think it'd be very good to film, so I kept it just with holding it in my hands, which can be tricky. There you go. We will now let that dry for about 20 minutes, come back and see what we've got. Hopefully it'll all be done. Cool. Well, he's about done. It's almost dry. As you can see, it kind of dries nice and matte. I think it gives a great look to a figure. His skin's darkened a little bit more than I thought it would do. But I'm going to dry brush that, I think, and just add a few highlights. That'll bring it out. The only thing left to do is the sword. So I decided I'm going to go with this plum colour that I purchased recently. And I've just looked up on YouTube how to paint lightsabers. And it seems the way most people do it is dark to light. So we're going to give that a go. And I'm going to use a bit of Lamia medium mixed in with the plum and some white, and I'm going to try and kind of gradiate it as best I can. So I'm going to mix it up and then I'll be back. Okay, fingers crossed. I'm going to add a little bit. I'm going to start not right at the bottom, but just a little bit up. Just a tiniest bit of colour. I'm going to come up and add a little bit more. Not much. Might need more than this actually. Let's add a bit more. There we go. Must remember to do the whole thing all the way around. Sorry, can't see it properly, can you? Take all the paint off and blend it a little bit. The oils would be great for this because they blend so easily. But we're not doing oils, so we got this. Excuse me. And I may repaint this figure again. I might do another version of him using things like oils. Be interesting to see, you know, the difference I can make with that. But we shall see. Not as easy as it looks. But I don't have to go mad. It's just for tonight's game. Just got to look the part of what it is. So a few little imperfections in the blend is no big deal. I'm going to call that a win. I'm not going to go mad with it, but I think that looks pretty cool. So yeah, that's him. I've not had it up. I've not added up either. How long it's taken me, but I don't think it's taken me that long. I'm going to do some highlights on him, but I won't bore you with that bit. But I'll show you the finished piece once he's done. And let's hope he doesn't get killed in the first round. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. If you did, make a comment below, and maybe I'll do more. So this next bit is just a quick clip from the evening's entertainment. That's Tim, you can see on the left. He was the umpire for the evening, controlling all the goons, and he's just about to start shooting at my heroic captain there outside that building, who was busy throwing grenades in, killing all his troops. He had a couple of rolls, but thankfully my hero got away with it. But it was a good evening, and he survived. So here's a couple of pictures of the finished piece. I think if I had to make any changes to him, I'd probably put him on a slightly different base, maybe more of an outdoor alien world base. But I'm still kind of in two minds what I'm more happy with. Maybe I'll just do another version of him and put that on a different base. Who knows? Anyway, I'm quite happy with the finished piece, and if you would like to purchase the piece, you can find him at lostheresyminiatures.com. Until next time, bye bye.